wearing some red shorts, which is really scary because Cloud9 play incredibly well from the red side already. Jarvan going to be banned away, and Olaf will be the response here from Cloud9.
And I love this from Cloud9 because one of the things that Forlan has been very good at is this Olaf. He is 7-1 with the Olaf during the regular season, a very successful champion for him. And Cloud9 has actually been very highly respecting what these play-in teams can do. The double bans towards top lane to stop, split push strategies before. And now you see Team 1 banning away Jensen, 2 bans to stop the mid lane domination and get Marth a better matchup.
I think banning the LeBlanc is certainly something to get rid of some PTSD, Zyrene, because Jensen certainly put on a clinic on that champion. We are going to have some CSD numbers for you into the game, and they are not fun for Brazilian fans.
Oh, not at all. We said about 39 at 10, and then at 15 minutes, it was even more than that. But that's the thing, is the domination that Jensen had over Bruiser. They're hoping they can circumvent that with the substitution of Marth in here. And keep in mind, Marth's champion pool is a little bit different. Cassiopeia and Aurelion Sol. These are the 2 champions that really stick out in his champion pool, and we'll see if he's able to play something like that against Jensen and find success.
Well, it is going to be the Xayah picked up and taken away from Sneaky. Of course, 100% of his games here at the play-ins have been on that champion. Now C9 looking to try and split up the Lovers duo. They might be having a tiff across Rift now, Zyrene, which is something you definitely do not want happening. His contract's now thinking about what his pick is going to be. But I do like that starting pick because if something's been working for a team, you got to try and change that up, try and get them on a different foot. Of course, Sneaky does have that Tristana to go to that he's looked so incredibly good on.
Yeah, the Tristana is what comes to mind, but Xayah right now seems to be the prime AD carry. I believe she is taken most commonly yesterday as a #1 pick from either blue or red side. Very high priority on this champion that has self-peel, a lot of damage, and I love her build. The fact that you go for an Infinity Edge type item, or you go Essence Reaver first, Static Shift for wave clear, and then you get to double back and don't have to go for a second attack speed item. You go for more crit because her W gives her movement speed, extra damage, all the works that you would want on an AD carry. So she does a deceptive amount of damage at a 2-3 item spike.
Also makes her 3-item spike completely disgusting as far as damage is concerned with all that extra CDR that you pick up from the Essence Reaver, not to mention above 50% crit. But the Alistar has finally made its way through. We've seen this on the ban list so many times. And that is going to be Xayah Alistar picked up. So the engage potential is massive, now augmented with the Elise for Forlan. And this is a massive change from what he's been doing. This is much more meta. It's been Nidalee and Jax for this guy the last 2 times. And I'm glad that we're seeing him go back to something that has been in the jungle throughout 2017. Didn't even mention the fact that Impact has picked up the Cho'Gath, unless Contracts wants to be playing that one in the jungle.
Yeah, most likely for Impact in the top. And the Tristana feels like what they would pick here. Yes. So we'll go back and talk about Team 1 eSports. The Alistar has been banned away quite a bit in the second round for a lot of teams, but hasn't made it through on a lot of people's priorities. It is a pretty good pick into Rakan. You have kind of a neutral laning phase. And later, because of some of the Rakan nerfs, the hitbox size, etc., you can actually get a headbutt onto his ultimate and not get charmed now yourself while you hit him away.
Yeah.
So there's some nice little interactions here that can happen to disrupt Smoothie.
Not to mention the fact that now Redbert can get around the map. We talk about Team 1 as having a chaotic style, and being able to follow an Elise around, get this gank duo happening. It means that the solo lanes that we haven't yet seen could possibly get some work done in the hands of Vert and Marth. But the Lucian is going to be taken out of Marth's playbook. Of course, wasn't one of the champions that he played in the regular season.
Yeah, Bruiser was known as the Lucian player, so this substitution may have actually thrown Cloud9 off a little bit, but they do still throw the 2 bans they had previously with the Trundle and the Mundo, respecting Vert in the top lane so he doesn't get as easy of a 1-3-1. Gnar jumps to mind, though.
Yeah, exactly. And Trundle, of course, giving away the fact that Impact will probably be playing that super tank towards the top side, not wanting to give that Subjugate some extra oomph. But that last ban has been a while to come through. Will, in the end, be the Corki to take away some lane pressure for Jensen, but he's got a heck of a lot more in his playbook. Something like the Orianna is sticking out like a sore thumb at this stage, but he could be the first one to play Cassiopeia here.
Yeah, the Sejuani, though. Yeah, the Sejuani is something that I think is incredibly powerful. I actually think she's an S-tier jungler at the moment. Banned away has only been, I believe, picked in a single game so far by Schernfire, and it didn't have a good showing. But she is incredibly potent in teams that have more melees and also has something like a Cho'Gath here. So they're going to have a good front line for Cloud9, and this leaves them counter pick for mid, and they can potentially take a hyper carry.
And as, you know, an Oceanian myself, looking at the top jungle combination that we got absolutely dumpstered on, over the side of the Direwolves. Cloud9 going to lock it away and show us exactly how that one is supposed to work, as the Shen is actually going to be locked in here for Vert, so a lot of protection for Absolute if they are going to be putting that on the Xayah, and we'll see what Marth wants to add to the wheelhouse in order to augment this. And Talia could be another option, so a lot of mobility around the map here for Team One.
Yeah, the Shen is another champion that Vert is known for. It's mostly the Mundo, Trundle, and the Shen that are the three that he uses to split push. So now Team One are open to a 1-3-1 with Collapse. They have Talia Wall, they have Shen Ultimate, but they also have this Elise. I'm looking at the jungle in this matchup because of the fact that this is an aggressive jungler for Forlan, which allows him to have that early pressure, so you can dive things like maybe the Cho'Gath in the top, maybe get some advantages there. And I like this pick from Jensen. Ryze has made a huge surge in solo queue. Not so much on the stage just yet, so the world's meta is a little bit still in development.
Yeah, we have seen it once so far here in the play-ins, and we know sort of by whispers about scrims that Ryze has been considered a counterpick to some of these matchups. Jensen thinking that Talia could be one of those options, and certainly the single target lockdown CC that they now have is despicable. You get that Rune Prison, follow it up with some Permafrost. C9's mid-jungle combo is going to be really, really frightening, and that's what happens every game, Cyrene. We always get contracts hanging out with Jensen. These guys are the Bash Brothers, and it's going to be hard for Marth to keep himself safe. However, you know, Talia has been safe. You know, you can just throw rocks in, try and clear out the minion waves, and then move the heck out of the way.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder for her since the mana cost changes.
Yes, that's very true.
And in a lot of her matchups, I got to talk to Bjergsen about it a little bit, where now rushing Merc Treads isn't as easy, because now you have to get like a mana item early on, like a Lost Chapter. So some of her matchups are a little bit harder than they were before, but we'll see what Marth is able to do up against Jensen here. Both of them actually taking the cleanse in the mid lane and respecting what the jungler on either side can do to affect it. Because remember Jensen yesterday in that post-game interview, it's not just about the mid lane, it's about the attention that the junglers give.
And now it's super important as well, because we've got this early game powerhouse jungler in the Elise. Not entirely sure what Forlan is going to be able to do with it, but we saw what Contracts did to the opponent Sejuani when they faced off against the Direwolves. Shermfire did not have a good time. Was in Italy, so a different story, but Forlan will probably want to go aggressive, try and get things started quickly here for Team One. We are onto the Rift now for game number 1 of day 2. And C9 just wanting to get that third win. The dream is to get 3 on the board, because you're feeling very, very comfortable. We are going to have a slight pause, though, to start things off. Wouldn't be the beginning of the day if there wasn't a little bit of a pause. And now, Zareen, we get to have a bit more of a chat, because we need as much camera time as possible, because the two of us haven't been here like this so far for any event. Oh, so glad. I feel like we could just keep this for a while and just have a chat.
Do I have to say anything? I mean, like,
I don't
just
know.
let it sit? No, but I feel like for these two teams, let's talk about these teams really quickly, because I feel like Team One, I really just think that the Brazilian fans have kind of been against them, because this is not the Pain Gaming, this is not the INTZ, right? And now they're coming out and they're 0-2 at the start. I want to see more punch from them. I want to see more fight. I want to see this aggressive play here, and they have some proactivity built into this composition. You have the Elise that can dive the turrets. You have the Shen that when you hit level 6, I don't want to see the reactive ultis. I want to see the proactive ultis. And then they have the Alistar. There is a lot here for Team One eSports to push Cloud9 in and provide pressure. And I think that proactivity is king in League of Legends. If you are the one making the moves, typically you will come out on top or have a higher percentage chance in that play to come out on top.
And also, I mean, if you think about teams that haven't necessarily been as successful or had as much experience, things like that, having a team that can snowball early is much easier than having these slow grind out teams that need to get going, that need to not make mistakes as the game goes on. So having all of these options in the early game is fantastic. Plus, this composition looks legit. This looks like something that we've seen before. It's not like one of these double AD carry, double Ardent Sensor compositions. It's not like the Fiora Jax, things like that. Doesn't seem to be a gimmick involved with what Team One eSports have put together. It's just a lot of early game pressure, a lot of engage potential as well, and the roaming power that Redbird is going to have will be very, very important moving forward. So back into the game, we'll see whether they can actually make that happen, because we can say all these things, but it still needs to work.
It comes down to execution, who's going where. what the junglers are doing. That's why I want to watch them closely, because when I look at this at face value, I feel like one has winning top lane, especially when the Shen is taking fervor against the Cho'Gath. Then they have a winning bottom lane, and they have a winning jungle here. So C9 have to do things like this to track the jungle early, or else they're going to be off to a disadvantage right from the get-go.
Okay. Unfortunately, we didn't have Redbert give anyone the cowbell, so I feel like everyone's probably looking forward to that. And C9 not going to be as intimidated now. He had the opportunity, decided not to do it. Contract's looking like he's going to start on his blue side. Red side starts. So same side of the jungle here. We could have our junglers meeting towards the top side potentially. See whether that's going to be enough. Of course, having this tank matchup top side does mean that Forlan will be in a little bit more of an optimal position if they want to get a kill up there.
Let's see what his route ends up going with here. They have a good idea of where he is because they know he didn't do red, and they just saw with Jensen pushing up in lane to try and get priority that Marth was kind of hanging around the Raptors and then used a Q. So they have an idea that the Elise is there or it was a fake leash. And now they see exactly where he is.
Redbert just putting his face in it for the moment. Explosive shot going to come down, but of course has suffered a little bit of a nerf here on this patch, so absolutely not going to be as worried. Despite that, still going down to about half health.
Yeah, it's interesting as well because it's a coin for the Alistar. Typically, we'll see the combat stats, we'll see the relic shield.
I like that bank account.
Yeah. Well, he's just trying to get that money.
Yeah, you got to, man.
Wouldn't really be an Ardent Sensor rush either. I've seen some Alistars go Relic Shield and then go into the Talisman of Ascension later for the movement speed.
Oh, I like this from Marth. Already going aggressive in comparison to what we saw from Bruiser as well.
Well, he does have the Elise on this side too, who's level 3. Gonna get in there on Jensen.
Yeah, Repel is going to come down as the rep up is slowing Jensen. The flash goes forward. The Cocoon! Max range, but the cleanse comes in. Forlan in trouble. Sub 100 health, and that's first blood for Jensen. Contract's in trouble, Marth. He wants it. Oh! No, he doesn't. And Cloud9, 2-0 to start things off.
By the skin of his teeth. Contracts gets away. Jensen gets the kill with the accuracy there and the Rise combos. But that, for Team 1, was an ideal situation to pick up something, and they get outplayed.
Yeah, you have to look at that play and think that Team 1 had so much of an opportunity. It can't be that they're feeding or anything like this. We do now have a red buff on Jensen, which is a disaster for Team 1, but that could have gone either way. There were pixels, there were minute timings that really played a part, so I am definitely impressed with how Team 1 played it. It's just unfortunate that it went C9's way.
Yeah, Forlan runs up in spider form and has to then use combo and then turn over to his human form to get the cocoon. If you are opening with something like that instead and you're getting your EWQ combo in human and then swapping, it's more damage, and that's what matters in these little skirmishes, is how much you can milk out of these fights.
Well, Smoothie taking a lot of damage here. The trample from Redbert really doing some work. As of course, Rakan, not exactly known for his tankiness in the early game, especially when you take that coin to start things off. Contract's now slinking around as best a pig lady can do.
Yeah, and once again, mid lane, mid lane, mid lane, mid lane. Elise is here, Sejuani is here.
Surprise.
Elise is here 2 seconds later, and now they're gonna try it again. There's the cocoon.
Yeah, good movements forward, but it's not gonna be enough here for Marv. Jensen just moves his way in. That's gonna be an easy third kill for C9. Repel comes down, but there is not a lot of locations for him to go, and an easy double. Now Jensen already off to a flying start, 100% kill contribution, 3-0-1. This is a disaster in the making for Team 1 Esports.
I feel like the repel there as well. That was something that you didn't have to do. It gave more time for Jensen to get cooldowns back. And this right here, we can see Contracts is literally just 2 seconds faster to the gank than the Elise is, and that's what makes the difference. If the Elise is there first, she'll get the combo onto Jensen, and then you have to outplay from there. But this is right from both of the sides.
Yeah, I mean, you're just repelling to see your death for a little bit longer. There was no way he was getting out of there as Redbird. Nice double. Pulverize does come in. Not exactly kill damage here, but a lot of harassment going down. It's absolute full health. Feeling comfortable, just a little bit upset about how the rest of the map is going, because there's a 2,000 gold lead at 5 minutes for C9.
Yeah, and it's off that mid lane. It's just 2-on-2 skirmishes, and the jungle mid of Cloud9, you can see, is just a little bit better in timing, a little bit better in that synergy, and that may even just be, you know, the repetitions that Marth has had in the lineup. He's actually played less games than Bruiser. How much time has he had to synergize with Forlan? But Jensen and Contract's been playing together the whole split, the whole year, right? Contracts was brought on as a rookie and has kind of been, you know, a mid laner's favorite jungler, because Jensen's been able to kind of craft him into what they need.
Contracts, exactly. Just following him around. Feels like how we used to talk about Maple and Cassie, you know? It's like they were almost the entirety of the Flash Wolves for about a season there.
Yeah, and
Contracts doing the same thing for Jensen, making him look like a god.
But also, you think about the games yesterday, where we were talking about C9 in a diverse style. Contracts played a full AD Rek'Sai, then he played things like the Nidalee, right?
Yeah,
so
pretty
now,
full AP Nidalee as well.
Showing the fact that he can play a diverse style, that Jensen can play things like this Ryze, as well as the Sejuani for Contracts, and now he's going top again. This was once again something he did the other day, and now he's got Contracts and Jensen. They're just teaming up here.
Yeah, Vert is in a lot of trouble. Moving out of the way as Jensen's just going to Realm Walk his way forward. Vert at least underneath the turret as he flashes his way forward.
Now he has no way to dodge incoming CC.
Impact does need to hit the Ruptures.
Yeah.
But he could waste some time here.
Buying time. That's what he's doing. He's going to go down, though.
Yeah, Talia is going to be moving towards the bottom side to try and capitalize, but you can see C9 very intelligently just hanging out underneath their turret, not going to give them any space to work with. Vert does have his teleport, so he can get back up to that lane, but now 5-0 for C9.
Yep.
So much control.
Yeah, but this Infernal Drake will go over because of the time that Vert was able to buy, and that blue buff's going to go over to Mark. So they're going to try to get something back in this mid lane, which has been an absolute disaster. Ryze, Jensen also started with a Dark Seal. 8 stacks already for that damn thing. He's got so much AP that's been stacking up. And remember, the Ryze buff was a 0.4 increase on the ratio of Rune Prison. Typically rises by tier into Catalyst, and you have no AP. So that buff doesn't even come online until later, but now you're already looking at a bonus of almost like 25 damage to what his W is doing on this patch versus before.
Oh no, and they're just going to do it again. Realm Walk isn't available this time, but wasn't exactly necessary last time as well as Contracts. Just a last-minute ultimate to throw forward just to make everyone feel better, and an easy kill comes in for Impact, making it 6-0.
Yeah, but it's 6 kills in 8 minutes. This is high tempo from Cloud9, countering the tempo that ONE had, or ONE was actually matching at the start. It just came down to the execution and the little decisions in the fight and leading up to the fight too.
Yeah, and it feels like just that one moment early in the game has just been so perfectly capitalized on by C9. They know exactly what they need to do in order to snowball this forward, and they're making all of the aggressive moves that they need to, moving that gold towards the top side as well. Now a 2-0 Impact purely because Jensen was so far ahead, Contracts was so far ahead. And is Sneaky going to be dead? No, he's not.
Nah, he's actually been winning this lane by himself.
Sorry.
Sneaky has been able to win this lane with Smoothie, just pretty much off of just the matchup, which you typically would say would go in favor of the Xayah with the trading potential, but he's been able to just CS a little bit better without attention.
Yeah.
And we're talking about like mid lane and how it kind of just went a little bit C9's way, and that's made the difference. But I got to give credit to ONE that it was the right idea to gank mid and be aggressive, and then to repeat because all summoner spells were down, right? All flashes on both Jensen and Contracts as well as his cleanse, but same with Team ONE. So both Contracts and Forlan had the exact same idea, and it's the appropriate play.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's not like they made a mistake or anything like that. It's just that 2 kills that went down early on.
Yeah, I would say from a macro
it just
perspective,
didn't work. Exactly.
From a macro perspective, it's the right thing to do. From a micro perspective, it's just a little bit of an execution error and a timing error. Before land down bottom, trying to get something in a lane that he hadn't visited before.
Yeah, finds the cocoon, and that's the grand exit. With the quickness available as well, means Smoothie is going to be fine. We'll have to go back to base, but it's another failed gank, unfortunately, there for Forlan, and all summoners still held on to.
Yeah, turret race time. Oh, looking for Vert.
We do have a Glacial Prison available, but Contracts decides not to throw it forward. Marth now looking for more, but they will just grab this first turret gold over for Team ONE eSports. So that will get them back within touching distance as far as money is concerned, but C9 still just happily scaling up. Remember, this is a Ryze. He's going for his Rod of Ages. He's going for his Seraphs. Like, oh man, this is frightening, Zyrene.
Yeah, the big difference here is when you look at what's happened in terms of the split map, look at the top side for Cloud9. They've warded up everything, but hold on. Sneaky's going to get out.
Weird.
Marth, though.
That was like an extra boosted rocket jump as the flash does come out. Forlan finds nothing. He's going to get killed by the turret. Thankfully, he wasn't touched by anyone on the side of C9. And Team ONE, once again, absolutely no joy for any of these ganks.
Yeah, and they're going to get that top lane turret taken away from them, and Cloud9 are going to keep pushing. And what I was talking about is all of this vision that's near the blue buff of ONE, and Cloud9 have control of this quadrant. On the opposite side, Team ONE had exactly the same amount of control of Cloud9's jungle, but there are no wards that they placed there, no control wards. There were 3 wards in the inventory of Redbird, I believe. And he was able to put down a few, but most of them are being used in the lane to set up the previous gank, and they weren't able to advance their ward lines. So they actually have less control of the pressure points on the map.
And right now it actually looks like they've got less champions on the map as well, because the inner turret falls on the top side. We've got this mid lane turret getting a lot of chip damage from Jensen. So Redbird now has to get himself back towards said turret, offer him some sort of protection, but yeah, close to a 5,000 gold lead at 11 minutes is nothing to scoff at, and that is only going to continue as the whole outer ring. Actually, no, because one of them was an inner, but that outer turret in the mid lane is very, very important as far as getting map control, and C9 barely needed any help in that regard. Yeah,
and you know exactly where they're going next. They're going to kind of make you right, Atlas. They'll go get that outer ring. They want that. But right here, once again, the mechanics come into play.
The rocket jump.
Outplay with the rocket jump. Mark comes in, and then Forland with the flash forward. And then he just gets taken out there. As they were trying to be proactive, I like the proactivity with the Shen ulti, just the execution is off once again. And this is a cascading effect of once you start dying and have an O2 Elise who doesn't have a whole lot of items, you're looking at lower and lower chances of making these plays work because you're going for these dives where you're putting your combat stats against theirs and they have a distinct advantage.
Well, I'm going to take it all back. There's no Rod of Ages being picked up here for Jensen. He's going to go towards the Abyssal Mask, so which is now the build. Well, I'm stuck back in time when it comes to Rise.
It's either or, to be honest. You can go for the Rod of Ages. I've seen it many times, but this is another thing that allowed Rise to come back in is when they have multiple sources of magic damage, you can build that Abyssal Mask, even though Impact did exactly the same thing.
Feels a bit redundant.
Right? It does feel redundant, but at the same time, it's got CDR on it. It's a little bit better for Rise in that regard compared to the Rod of Ages. It doesn't scale up with the AP, which you would think would be better, but the magic resistance is the big ticket there. It's not going to hinder his damage much, but he'll have that extra survivability, which honestly, Rise is a machine gun mage. Survivability is key once you're ahead.
And also he's up against Forlan and Marth, who are on both magic damage dealing champions, so of course having a bit of extra magic resist certainly helps. And ticking up to about 20% CDR here just with these items alone feels great for a Rise who, like, you know, it's just giving him more attack speed on that machine gun.
I'm looking at Cloud9. All right, I feel like they're speed running the play-ins. They had that tweet from Jensen, like, who are these guys? What's going on? And they're just saying, we're going to play our game.
Yeah, and if you think about it, you know, you got to buy the championship Ashe skin, and the money will go to charity, and this is like, that's what speedrunning's all about. That does make sense.
That's true. This is World's Done Quick.
It all works out. But Team 1 certainly do not want that, and they're going to try and turtle this one out as best they can. But we mentioned that this team composition has a lot of options as far as early game power, engage potential. None of those engages have worked, and none of the early game has gone their way. And it just feels like Sneaky down here, having the time of his life, going to make me correct there by taking out the final turret in those outer rings. And just continue having a great time on Summoner's Rift. It's just C9 are under no pressure right now.
Yeah, so the skirmishes happened, the kills went over to them, and they got those 6 very early on. And then it was all about turret, macro, leveraging your lead. So that's why I'm talking about speedrunning here, because I want to see how quickly Cloud9 are able to accelerate the pace of this game so that they can try to take it quick. And Om Nom Nom, full combo.
Is a delicious spider. I was going to pick up some play-by-play there, but I'm pretty sure Forlan was just dead, so it's like a little bit unnecessary.
It's like that thing where you get scared and you're like, spider, I feel like I ate it in my sleep. And then they're like, it's a good source of protein.
Yeah, I mean, isn't there some statistic like throughout your life you're going to eat 7 spiders or something like that?
While you're sleeping or something?
Impact, only 6 more to go, my friend. The Rift Herald is going to come down and spell the end of the inner turret here in the mid lane. Only 1 more remaining as Redbird takes the majority of his health bar by what seems like incidental damage that Jensen was able to put down. It wasn't exactly the best charge, Mr. Rift Herald.
Misses.
Sorry, yeah.
I don't know.
I don't even know why we need to give it a gender. Give them a gender.
Because her name is Shelly. 100%.
Really?
No, that's my thing.
Shelly? Are you a Shelly? I'm a Harold.
You're a Harold?
But I'm okay with, like, can we change Haroldine? Like, that's okay too.
Harald?
Are you saying?
I like Shelly, though, because Shelly's so great to yell when it's just charging into something.
No, we just... Okay, let's talk about this instead, because talking about the gender of Rift Herald, I think, is a little bit unnecessary. Jensen, this guy looks pretty damn good. As far as 15 minutes goes, which is what we're ticking up to right now, he was up by 46 CS against Bruiser. So now Marth looking far better. That's about half as bad.
Yeah, that's true. The CSD is looking a little bit better, but the gold advantage, it said he was up about 1,000 up against Bruiser. Now he's up about 2,000 right now, and that's because of turrets, macro game, and the fact that there have been more kills in this early part. So sure, you didn't lose lane as much, but your jungler and your mid laner are getting blasted even harder by the actual skirmishes.
I really don't want to be looking at that the gold numbers there as well, because you saw Impact's lead against Vert on the top side. That was about to the tune of 3,000 gold, something like that.
Getting there.
Yeah, that's about 33% more money he has been able to pick up.
Yeah, it's a healthy 8,000 gold lead at 16 minutes.
Just
for Cloud9.
But Vert now trying to hold on to this inner turret, the last one remaining. Impact is up towards the top side, but has his teleport available. They won't need it. That is going to be a fantastic engagement from Smoothie. Has the quickness, has the grand entrance, and they certainly have the damage.
Yep, and now they'll be able to split the map too. You can see Impact on the top side able to push in. Cloud9 will continue to push this bottom side. They do have Contract's ulti for engage, even though they use Smoothies. And so they have options here, as this will be a 3-on-4 for about a wave.
Yeah, they've got options aplenty. I feel like even if there were 5 members, it would be fine. As there's the beautiful combo out of Smoothie. Does come in, but thankfully the repel's there to keep Forlan alive. He's going to go up into the sky as there's the flash out from Redbird. Does have the unbreakable will, so will survive. And at least they do weather the storm, but it just feels like C9 now moves towards the turret, tries to get some of that damage down, and the message has been sent. I mean, a couple of summoner spells from Smoothie was all that cost them.
Yeah, but they got turret damage on the top side from Impact, so able to whittle a little bit away at that turret. It's not too much, and they were able to force them off the bottom part.
I like this movement as well. I mean, getting themselves back to the mid lane, making sure that the pressure is absolutely everywhere. What C9 have been doing is been unrelenting. There are no options for Team One eSports to get back into this game, no matter which team they were. This is what I want to emphasize, is the fact that that play at about level 2 has pretty much decided this, because C9 have not left any room for Team One eSports to get back in. And that just shows immaculate League of Legends. And it wasn't necessarily what we were seeing out of C9 when they were playing against CLG, when they were playing against Dignitas. All of these months ago, there were mistakes made, there were mispositionings, and that flat out has not happened here in the play-ins.
Yeah, they've been able to outplay, and it feels like they've been doing a lot of that boot camping. Like we saw Jensen end up playing a Galio that he had never played before in the NALCS ever. It was his first game, even though it was pretty good since Rift Rivals, and even before that. Talking like MSI coming off of that tournament, and Jensen playing the Ryze here. And it's a bit of a different Ryze paradigm. Ever since he got nerfed on things like the cooldown of the E and like the build-up of the damage, etc., it was 3 points in Q, 5 points into E immediately after that. So it was a little bit different than just the machine gun using the E at the rank 1 the whole game. So just for people out there who want to pick up this Ryze that now is building Abyssal Mask.
Yeah,
getting a little bit of that world's meta taste.
And I'm totally okay with having 2 Abyssal Masks here now, because Impact and Jensen have not been near each other.
They don't see each other,
yeah. So split pushing Cho'Gath means that there's none of that redundancy that we were talking about, and it feels a lot better. So those at home with the OCD wanting to make sure that you can maximize team fights, don't worry about that. Jensen and Impact will not be hanging out together. And I was about to say that Forlan's going to check this Baron, but he's not even here for another minute.
Yeah,
it's only 19 minutes into the game. This feels like a faster game. Pretty sure this is probably one of the fastest games that we've had so far as getting to this kind of gold lead for Cloud9.
Well, so far, we've seen a 27-minute game from Cloud9, a 30-minute game from Cloud9, and a 25-minute game from Direwolf against Team One eSports. So Team One has been the victim of a 25 and 27-minute loss. How fast is this one going to be?
This is the question. I kind of want it to be 23 minutes just to make sure that we have some sort of sequencing going.
Just keep going down. People are learning.
Yep. And they're certainly setting themselves up for that, but probably waiting for some sort of Baron buff, try and get those minions able to break open the base. Impact on the bottom side, getting things shoved forward. As the teleport is available, you can get to 25.
I feel like what Cloud9 will do is wait for the Baron, bait the Baron, turn instead of doing the Baron, because it's a higher variance play to do it, and this is exactly what they're doing here.
Do have the Realm Walk to come in, but it is interrupted, so Jensen not going to have that opportunity. Nice double knock-up comes in. as Vert does have to get himself out of the way. Forlan survives for longer than he probably should have, but does eventually fall down, and Sneaky says no to Redbird. No more jungler available. C9, pretty textbook move towards the Baron.
Yeah, when you're 10,000 gold up, you don't need to start the Baron. You deny vision of the area, wait for them to walk up, use your 10,000 gold advantage, kill them, then you go for the Baron. It's much easier to take lower variance play, and you're able to just pick that up.
Is there really a bad decision to make when you're 10,000 gold ahead? 20 minutes into the game.
From my solo queue, I will tell you there are a lot of decisions you can make at 10k up.
Okay.
That will lose you.
We were talking about PTSD earlier. I do not want to trigger yours at all.
Too late.
Okay, well, C9 going to be pushing up some Baron-empowered minions. Jensen going to be doing the same thing, but in the mid lane. Just making sure we get these Abyssal Masks away from each other, and Sneaky turret pushing Queen herself, Tristana, will be helping him out, getting rid of this turret very, very quickly. Yes. Impact get to work on the inhibitor, but it looks like they don't even really care about that. They just want to open up this base as much as possible, give them some more room on the killing fields as they look to take down Team 1. 21 minutes now into the game, as this could be the final team fight moving forward. Marth in trouble. He's taking so much damage. Was that Vorpal spikes that did that? I think Sneaky was auto-attacking. We're okay. Yeah. Impact's not doing that ridiculous damage. So the first inhibitor is going to fall. Inevitably, the second one is going to follow. And this has been utter dominance. 15,000 gold the lead. The point-blank ultimate is going to land, and that is no more Talia. Forlan also going to fall down almost incidentally once more, and Vert, he's in trouble. That's 4 swift kills, absolute, no options whatsoever. As Impact, he looks basically unkillable. He's at low health, but who even really cares? That still means he's got about 1,000. Nexus turrets now taking fire, and Absolute just has to look on as his base gets decimated. C9, you thought they looked good on day 1. They look damn good starting off day 2. Direwolves had some choice words after that game saying that they'll come back. Chippy's saying, don't worry, Impact, I'll come at you next time. But man, this is looking like a terrifying Cloud9 to go up against.
Chippy's saying, you know, we're ready. Cloud9 saying, come at us. 22 minutes, 19 seconds, 14-0 in kills, absolutely obliterating Team 1. And Cloud9 will be able to move on to the play-in knockout stage after this win. Yeah, they will. That makes them 3-0. No one is going to be able to catch up to that scoreline, so they'll be waiting at the top seed for the second seed team from one of the other groups, of course, to come in. Direwolves can still catch them with a 2-0. Oh, that's true, that's true. But they have locked in either a first or second seed in the group, so Cloud9 are moving on. You don't know what position just yet, but still, they can kind of take solace in the fact that they will be playing a best of 5. They still have all of kind of the options in their hands. And man, 22 minutes, the fastest game so far of Worlds, is absolute spanking. And that was so close to the 23, so that we'd have 23, 25, You almost
27.
got it. You almost got it.
Very, very close. However, 22 minutes is a ridiculously fast game time. And what? They're going to beat Direwolves now in like sub 15 minutes? Like, what is going to happen? Is this like exponential, like winning speed? I'm not entirely sure, but C9, they didn't even necessarily have a snowball composition put together. There's a dang Sejuani in the jungle, Zyrene. Yeah, and that's what I'm really looking forward to here from Cloud9 moving forward, is we're seeing Contracts be a standout for this team to help Jensen to push things forward. And remember, this is his first Worlds appearance, and this is a fantastic warm-up for him because Cloud9, if they move on to groups, they either are in a group with SKT or Samsung, RNG. They are looking at a lot of great teams with great junglers, and it's a good warm-up for the rookie. Yeah, he's definitely going to need it as well. But now, to hear more about that Cloud9 win, let's send it over to Dracos and the analysts.
Thank you very much, Atlas. I think dominance is the story of Cloud9 in these games.
We're through! Let's go!
Okay.
We're on the elimination stage officially, NA, we're doing it!
And as Marcy said, now officially locked. They're not guaranteed first seed yet coming out of this group, but they will be getting first or second. So that is a big deal. Already moving on to the bracket stage. At first game, day 2, Cloud9 have already secured something that is quite impressive.
Yeah, and the manner they did it.
Exactly, the breakneck pace. I know we're like both excited. I had to compete for you there. I don't know if I can compete with that though, that relationship.
Very emotional person.
But they just missed a perfect game, and it was what, Jensen's first rise of the split of the season, maybe.
Of the year.
There you go. Of the year, comes out, just starts slamming kids on that one. 4-0 in the first 4 minutes of that game. Just ridiculous stats.
Yeah, I think it was so funny too because it's exactly how the C9 games tend to go is Contracts and Jensen pairing together, destroying that, and then spreading that around the map. They go top, they get more kills there. It was a great showing overall, and it's something that I think whoever has to draw them, even if they end up in the second seed somehow today, I don't think anyone is looking forward to playing
Exactly what I was going to say is that if you're a team in C or D and you haven't played yet, you're like, we really need first seed. I knew we needed first seed already, but now we really need that first seed.
Yeah, I think that's just the big thing too, because it's such a mechanical dominance out of C9 where they just seem like on a different level in terms of just individual skill almost across the board.
I mean, that bottom play by Sneaky, the fact that they threw
Hate
four
to cut you
ultimates.
off, however, of course, a fantastic game, but we do have words from members of Cloud9 themselves, so we're going to send it over to Fish for an interview with Smoothie.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with the support from Cloud9 Smoothie after a dominant victory over Team 1. That was the second game you played against them. It was relatively quiet in the bottom lane, but the top side of the map was action-packed. What was the game plan going into Game 2 against them?
Well, we didn't really have a game plan. I think we just played with what leads we had. So Jensen and Contracts won an early 2v2, or several early 2v2s, and we got a huge lead off that. And it was really hard to play on bot side because they had Shen Talia, which has really high kill pressure in the bot lane. So we just played on a strong side, and it worked out for us.
Definitely did work out for you guys. This is the fastest game we've seen from this group so far. The last match you played was up against the Direwolves, and that was a relatively quick victory as well. Tell me a little bit more about that match, because that's who you're going to be playing up next as well.
Well, we obviously don't expect the games to be easy by any means. We just take every game by game, and hopefully it goes well like this. But I mean, I'm not expecting them to fall over or anything. It'll still be a really hard game, and we'll try our best to make the games clean like this one.
Which is great to hear, because if you win that next match against the Direwolves later on today, you're guaranteed first seed coming out of this group, and that's definitely something that you guys will be striving for. Are you very confident coming to this next match? Tell me a little bit more about it.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm confident. I mean, sure, we won a lot of games, but I've gotten punished in the past for being too confident, and I never want that to happen again. So hopefully we take every game, again, I said, every game by game, and hopefully we just win all.
Well, that's great to hear. Congratulations on your victory, Justin. Best of luck against the Direwolves later on. We're going to send it back to you guys.
Okay, it turns out there is a humble member of Cloud9. I wasn't sure if everyone was going to come and swing in yeah, this is free, this is easy, why are we here? But Smoothie, definitely more reserved, definitely more relaxed.
Yeah, you heard him say, though, he's had those moments. He personally guaranteed that C9 was going to get through the gauntlet in North America. So he's not completely foreign to the idea of stunting a little bit.
Well, of course, we talked a lot about Cloud9's success, but I want to look a little bit about how they actually executed and what exactly they brought to the table, because you heard Smoothie talking a little bit about the compositions and what they were playing up against when Team 1 started to draft things like the Shen and the Talia.
Yeah, it's looking at the win conditions of both these compositions, and Smoothie said it himself in the interview. He talked about, it's going to be very difficult to play around the bot lane because you are competing across from an Alistar, Elise, and Shen. That has dive written all over it post level 6. But before then, Cho'Gath notoriously starts a little bit slow in the lane phase, so Shen and Elise would have good kill pressure there. So you look at Team 1, you're like, wow, so many different options about how they want to attack this early game. Maybe they camp the top lane, maybe they hard farm jungle and then just go bottom once they have all of those ultimates geared up. Whereas on the other side, it's really just about the Rise. That was the one lane that they had to have that, initial CC lockdown, but you're still waiting for a couple of levels on the Sejuani before that takes off.
Yeah, I'm curious, is that the best way to attack this Team 1 composition, is just to play through Jensen? Is kind of the Cloud9 classic.
Yeah, it's very fortunate that the way they want to attack the comp is also how C9 just generally likes to play. If you're able to get that Talia step behind early, she has a harder time at 6 getting those roams off. Suddenly you can kill her multiple times, and then maybe you can spread that around the map. And, that's also exactly what C9 loves doing, getting Jensen ahead. So it was very fortunate for them that this was exactly, while it is a very scary team comp that Team 1 has built, that there are these avenues you can take as C9 to get ahead.
Well, not just what they wanted to do, but what they actually did. As we take a look at this replay, Cloud9 absolutely outclassing in terms of individual play here in the early game.
And again, the concept makes sense. You want to invade the Sejuani from Team 1, you want to disrupt her, but the problem is that he didn't bring the Elise with him, and then he finds himself in a 2v2 scenario where Cloud9 are just going to outplay.
Yeah, it was just really nice, just played by both Jensen and Contrast, getting that stun and the cleanse off of the Elise Cocoon, and they're able to follow up flashes on the other side of that Talia Q, able to make it a bit of a whiff punish there, and then they're going to keep on for the kill. And then this second gank attempt, Marth unfortunately going to miss that Ken combo, trying to interrupt Contracts getting in on him.
And, frankly, this is so telegraphed. Talia's flash was burned in the last instant. We said that the only, big hard form of CC and kill pressure is around that Rise, and it's also Jensen's Rise of all things. So this was just going to be wash and repeat for Cloud9, and it just helps that they get a double kill on top of it.
Yeah, it's so brutal after that point because, like we said, you can start spilling over that advantage. They start going topside, dove the Shen 2 times. Now you've attacked both globals on Team 1's comp, and even though their bot lane did get that turret, they were able to get an Infernal Dragon, excuse me. It doesn't matter at this point because your comp has fallen apart.
And now looking at it, do we feel like Cloud9 have gotten even better from their day one performance, or do you just feel like they've pretty much figured out Team 1 since their first match?
It's hard to say because they looked really good in all their games. I think this might have been stompier because it felt like Team 1 was playing a little bit more aggressive, and when you are trying to take the fight to somebody and it goes bad, it does snowball a little faster.
I mean, I think the one thing that you can really take away, because it's so hard when a team just gets, just fried like that, just absolutely blasted, is the confidence of Cloud9 and the different type of performance that they're showing. This is a good warm-up game. This is Contract's, his first time on the world stage. And the fact that he gets to go in through play-ons and really get prepped and warmed up for not only the elimination best of 5, but then hopefully the group stage afterwards.
And do we feel like this is something that Cloud9 can now transition over to that best of 5 stage? Do you feel like the variance they've shown us is a good indicator from what we can expect from them?
I think the thing I like most is just how they're treating their opponents in the pick ban phase, where they're banning out what their the other team's bread and butter
Mundo,
is.
the Trundle.
Yep, get rid of the scariest things, the person that they're going to play in the elimination match, they're going to have some data on, and so I just like the idea of limit what you've seen them do, play your stuff, and then adapt from there.
Well, with Cloud9, they've secured themselves a spot in the top 2, so a good start for them indeed on the day. Up next, we've got a rematch between our top teams in Group A, Lion Gaming versus Team WE. But as we go to break, we're offering you a sneak peek of the latest champion update coming to a rift near you.